As I said, we will talk about pancreatic cancer, well, in particular pancreatic ductal adenocarcinoma, that is the most common neoplasia of the exocrine pancreas, and it is a cancer with a very poor prognosis. It has a 5-year survival rate only of 11% and is the third leading cause of cancer-related mortality in Western countries. One of the reasons is that it is highly invasive, and when it's diagnosed, it usually shows metastasis. This highly invasiveness can be explained in part because it's very close to major blood vessels. Another problem with pancreatic cancer is that there is an absence of clear clinical symptoms, and there is a lack of biomarkers that can alert of the onset, of the disease. And if we focus on the pathophysiology of pancreatic cancer, we will see that it has a very dense stroma reaction, what is called desmoplasia, that apart from the cancer cells, there is a very important stroma component with extracellular matrix here, also with fibroblasts, cancer-associated fibroblasts, and also with an immune component that is mainly immunosuppressive, like myeloid-derived suppressor cells or Tregs. All of these make this cancer very resistant to therapy, and in this regard, there are many studies trying to find new tumor markers that could alert of the beginning of the cancer, and also to find novel therapeutic targets. As I said in the introduction, our group is focused on the study of glycosylation of cells in general, and in particular of tumor cells. And in tumor cells, it has been described that the glycosylation that is found in the extracellular part of the cells is changed. So the glycans that are attached to glycoproteins, that are attached to glycolipids, change the composition and the structures. And in particular, here I will show you some of the main changes. These changes take place during the cellular transformation. Here the glycans are shown using these pictures, these symbols, okay? And here we see that, for instance, one of the changes in altered glycosylation is the presence of truncated glycans, so shorter glycans like SialylTN or T antigens. Also, there is an increase of branched glycans, glycosylated and sialylated. Sialylated are shown with this pink diamond. Okay, this is corresponds to sialic acid, in particular neuraminic acid. Another change that is also shown is the presence of sialyl-Lewis antigens like sialyl-Lewis X and sialyl-Lewis A, that we will talk about them later on. The importance of these changes in the glycosylation pattern of tumor cells impact in all of these hallmarks of cancer cells. In particular, we will focus on the role of these changes in the invasion and metastasis process, in activation, this process in tumor cells, and also in avoiding the immunodestructions, in creating an immunosuppressive environment. One of the changes are an increase in hypersialylation, an increase in sialic acid, that is hypersialylation. So cancer cells are usually hypersialylated, and this influence in the interaction with the extracellular matrix and the components of the extracellular matrix, reducing cell-cell adhesion and generating a higher phenotype, migratory and metastatic phenotype. And one of the changes in this sialylation is the presence of this sialyl-Lewis X and sialyl-Lewis A antigens that can interact with selectins and help tumor cells to be more invasive and metastatic. Another change we will focus is in the suppression of immune activity. And in particular, we will see will show that this tumor sialic acid can interact with some receptors of the immune cells, making them more inhibitory. As we will talk about sialylation, just a brief slide showing the metabolic pathway of sialic acids. Sialic acids comprises a family of monosaccharides, but in particular, the most common one in humans is neuraminic acid that has this structure. It is a negative monosaccharide that is found negative because it has this carboxyl group here that at physiological pH has negative charge, and it is found always in the terminal end of these glycan structures. Sialic acid is formed by interconversion of different monosaccharides, starting from glucose. Here we have then sialic acid, and then it has to be activated as CMP sialic acid in order to be transferred to the glycans. After we have this activation, sialyltransferases that are located on the Golgi apparatus in the secretory pathway are the enzymes that transfer this activated sialic acid to an acceptor. And in this way, we have this sialoside or these sialylated glycoconjugates here that are found in the extracellular membrane or are secreted proteins. And we have the sialic acid here, that is this diamond, this purple diamond, okay, at the end of the glycans. There are several sialyltransferases that are classified according to the linkage of sialic acid with galactoses or other monosaccharides. There is the alpha 2,3 sialyltransferases family that transfers sialic acid to a galactose, forming this alpha 2,3 linkage, and there are 6 members. Then we have the XD6 family that can transfer sialic acid in alpha 2,6 linkage to galactose. Here is the sialyltransferases that are 2 members, XD6, GAL1 and 2, or they can transfer sialic acid in alpha 2,6 linkage but to another monosaccharide that is GALNAC. And finally, there is this family, ST8CF family, that transfers sialic acid to another existing sialic acid. We will focus mainly here in this family because this family is the one that is responsible for the synthesis of sialyl-Lewis X and sialyl-Lewis A antigens. And here you have the slide where we can see the biosynthesis of the sialyl-Lewis X antigen that we have said before that is important for the for the metastatic phenotype of tumor cells. Here are all the glycosyltransferases involved. In other type of Lewis antigens, it starts from this type 2 precursor, and in order to get the sialyl-Lewis antigen, first this type precursor has to be sialylated by these alpha 2,3 sialyltransferases, in particular the ones that are 3, 4, and 6. And after that, there are fucosyltransferases that give rise to this antigen, sialyl-Lewis X antigen. Here you can see the mechanistic role of the interaction of sialyl-Lewis X antigen with, as we will see, the activated endothelial cells. In fact, in normal physiology, leukocytes use this mechanism during the process of rolling and migration to the inflammatory sites. So in this process here we have a neutrophil, okay, this express this type of antigen, sialyl-Lewis X, and they are glycoproteins. And then this makes the first step of addition. What they do, these interactions, is to slow down these leukocytes through the blood vessels in order to initially attach to the endothelial cells. Sorry. To these endothelial cells that express selectin, and after this attachment, its initial attachment, then there is the interaction through integrins, and after that the extravasation to the inflamed sites. For doing that, the selectins have a carbohydrate recognition domain, and these sialyl-6 and they are the minimal ligands for selectins. The biological function is this homing and extravasation of leukocytes during the inflammatory response. This process is mimicked by the tumor cells, and the tumor cells that express sialyl-6 and also sialyl-A have this advantage, and there is a positive correlation between the expression of these antigens and metastasis, and also poor survival in several types of cancer. Another interaction between these changes in glycosylation and in cancer are through these receptors that are called Siglecs. Siglecs are receptors. Here we have the family of human Siglecs. Siglecs come from sialic acid binding immunoglobulin like lectins because they have domains that are similar to the immunoglobulin folding domain. Okay, and these Siglecs are mostly expressed in several immune cells. Here we have this family, and I would like to point out that most of these Siglecs have are inhibitory receptors, so they promote immunity. They promote the inhibition of these immune cells. This type of inhibition is through most of these Siglecs. When these Siglecs here in the immune cell interact with some sialylated structures, for instance, on a tumor cell, these interactions, what engage is the phosphorylation of some domains, in particular the ITIM domain, that is an immunoreceptor tyrosine-based inhibitory motif. This phosphorylation of some of these tyrosines are docking sites for phosphatases, and these phosphatases just remove some phosphates of other signaling molecules, and what they do is inhibit this immune signaling. This type of interaction resembles the one that we know that it is caused by the interaction between PD-1, that is an immunoreceptor, inhibitory immunoreceptor of T cells and other immune cells, and PD-L1. The interaction PD-L1 that can be expressed, for instance, for tumor cells with PD-1 also phosphorylates these high TIM domains and recruits phosphatases, and also creates the inhibition of the immune cell. In this regard, many investigators, many researchers are also considering this Siglec sialoglycan axis as a new immune checkpoint. When we look at the tumor, we see that there is an increase in general between sialoglycan and Siglec interactions, an increase in the tumor microenvironment. Here there are the tumor cells, and we see through the hypersialylation of these tumor cells the interaction with T cells, natural killer cells, or macrophages, and usually these interactions take place through these inhibitory Siglecs, like Siglec-9, for instance, or Siglec-7 and Siglec-9, and these interactions here, what do is suppress, for instance, T cell function, reduce the cytotoxic potential of natural killer cells, or induce the polarization of macrophages to a more anti-inflammatory phenotype. Not all ligands of these Siglecs are described, but these ones here are being discovered, and here you have always all ligands have this terminal sialic acid here, and one of the ligands, for instance, for Siglec-9 is the sialyl-6 as well. The interaction of Siglecs takes place with many type of immune cells like monocytes, macrophages, dendritic cells, and neutrophils, and nowadays therapeutic approaches are developed and focused to interrupt these interactions using antibodies, anti-Siglecs, antibodies against some of the sialylated antigens, sialidases, or for instance, sialic acid glycomimetics. That is one of the approaches we are developing now. So this is like the introduction, and now I will tell you our work in this area. Okay, our first work was focused to understand the role of some of the alpha-2 sialyltransferases in pancreatic cancer, in particular focusing on the sialyltransferases that we think were important for sialyl-Lewis X and sialyl-Lewis A expression. And for that, we perform a stable transfection of these two genes in some of pancreatic cancer cell lines. The transfection causes an overexpression of this antigen, and we observe an increase in S-selectin adhesion, also an increase in migration invasion, a decrease in cell-cell aggregation. When performing then in vivo studies with atemic Uniud mice, there was an increase in metastasis when the cells were expressing the sialyl-Lewis X, and also a decrease in Uniud mice survival. Later on, what we decided was to determine the potential of inhibiting those genes, and we did that by knocking down these genes also in pancreatic cancer cell lines, and really the knocking down confirming the reduced expression of sialyl-Lewis X, the reduced S-selectin adhesion, and the reducing migration and invasion. So we could revert this invasive phenotype of pancreatic cancer cells. So we could establish that these sialyltransferases could be considered as potential tumor therapeutic targets. So we wanted then to go a step further and to use and try to find or to use a compound that could pharmacologically inhibit these sialyltransferases. This is what we are working now. So try to block the action of the sialyltransferases in order to decrease this sialic acid on this hypersialylation on the tumor cells. Many sialyltransferases have been described. Some are natural, other glycomimetics, like this one that we have used, and some are similar or to mimic the transition. The transition state here is the donor, that is the sialic acid that is linked to CMP, that is the donor for the sialyltransferases, this one. And we tested several of them. We tested soja-saponin, that has been described, it's a natural product that was described to reduce alpha-2,3 sialic acid expression, and that was described to impair cell adhesion, migration, and metastatic potential of some breast cancer and melanoma cells. We also tested this one that was selective for alpha-2,3 sialyltransferases and was described to act reducing migration, invasion, and metastasis in lung cancer cells. And also we use this one that is a glycomimetic of sialic acid. In fact, it's like sialic acid. It is peracetylated, and it has but this fluorine here, that this fluorinated analog is what inhibits the enzyme, the fluorine atom in particular. This has been described to reduce the sialic acid not only in alpha-2,3 linkage, but also in alpha-2,6, and it has tested positively in melanoma cells. Our results with the first two were not good, let's say, at least they didn't show a significant decrease in any of the sialylated determinants, so we couldn't use them, probably because they were not enough permeable to enter into the cells. Okay, and then what we did was to use this one. This is easily taken by the cells. The esterases inside the cell deesterificate these acetyl groups. It can be activated as CMP, and then it acts as a competitive inhibitor of the sialyltransferase. Okay, and in this way, we show a decrease, as I will show you later, of sialic acid. In fact, this compound has been tested now in pancreatic cancer, but also in other types of cancer, and due to the as you will see, the promising results, there is a group now in Japan that has developed a prodrug of this glycomimetic that is activated only in most of the tumor cells that are producing a acrolein that releases the prodrug in an active drug inside the cells. Okay. Here I show you the results in pancreatic cancer. Okay, so we treat these 4 different pancreatic cancer cell lines. They have different levels of sialic acid or sialylated Lewis antigens, but in all cases, when we detected the expression of alpha-2,3 sialic acid after the treatment, that is this white chart here, okay, we observed a very clear and significant reduction. When we look at the change in the expression of alpha-2,3 sialic acid, this is done by flow cytometry using lectins that are specific for some of these glycans, okay. The decrease was not so significant in all of cell lines. The significance was also very clear when we observed the decrease in Sialyl-Lewis X antigen, here you see, and also in Sialyl-Lewis A antigen. The doses are between 100 micromolar or 400 micromolar in the cells. And in general, we can conclude that there is a general decrease of cell surface sialoglycans expression in all of the cell lines, mostly on alpha-2,3 sialic acid. Then we analyze the functional effects of this reduction, and for doing that, as you see here, we had in previous results that show the decrease of the sialylated antigens on these cells, and we observed these functional effects on selectin adhesion, migration, and invasion. And in all cases, we observed a decrease of this migratory phenotype and invasive phenotype. Then, in collaboration with Mar Research Institute in Barcelona, we performed in vivo assays with syngeneic mice. Here we created a tumor, a mouse, pancreatic mouse tumor, and injected this mouse tumor, treated this mouse tumor with the sialyltransferase inhibitor. And there was a decrease in tumor growth reduction. And when we analyze the immune component of the tumor, because these are immunocompetent mice, okay, we observed an increase in tumor T lymphocytes. This has been now explored because, it can explain in part, or could contribute to the reduction of the tumor growth. In parallel with these experiments, we were also testing the effect of treating cancer cells with the inhibitor in microfluidic models. These experiments were performed in collaboration with the Dr. José Manuel García Aznar, that is leading the group in Zaragoza, and Pedro Guerrero, that is now working in our group. This was a collaboration. In microfluidic models, we are here. We can work in a 3D cell culture. It's in between the traditional 2D cell culture and in vivo models. These models are based on microfluidic devices that are derivatized with the basis is this polymer polydimethylsiloxane. It's gas permeable and can be also is transparent, so it can be followed by advanced imaging techniques. And what is done is that inside this part here, there is the culture of tumor cells. This round places here is where we put they put the media, and cells are grown here for 10, 12 days, and it can grow as spheroids, as 3D organized cellular structures. Here is just if you are not familiar with that, here is where they set the cells, and it's very, very small, but you can follow then what happens in this compartment, and this compartment have connections with the reservoirs where there is the media, basically, of the cells. Well, when doing these experiments, what we saw when treating the cells with the inhibitor here, we observed a decrease in sialylase expression. The spheroids were a bit more spheric, and well, we could observe this decrease in alpha-2,3 sialic acid. And and also we observe a decrease in 3D migration. In fact, when we grow the tumor cells in these devices, we use a collagen hydrogel. Okay, in this collagen hydrogel, this is more compact collagen hydrogel for growing, but for migration, it is there is a reduced stiffness of the collagen hydrogel, and we observed a decrease in migration when treated the cells with the inhibitor. Also, they perform some confining migration within the microchannels, so the cells have to grow through pathways, no? Where they have to do an apoptotic migration. There was a decrease in confining migration, and also they create like a microvasculature micro device where they put endothelial cells, okay, and then they show also a reduced vascular adhesion of the tumor cells to the endothelial cells. All of that is just confirming, no, the reduced invasive and metastatic potential, no, of the cells, the tumor cells, when they are treated with inhibitor, when they reduce the sialic acid expression. And also, we also, as we had the previous result, as that we show that there was an increase in tumor T lymphocytes in the in vivo mice, in vivo model that I showed you before. We also make an experiment treating CAR-T cells with the tumor cells that I will show you in the next slide. Just to know the importance actually in CAR-T therapy, especially in hematological cancers, no? As you probably know, the leukocytes, and in particular the lymphocytes of the patient, are extracted for one patient. They are from these lymphocytes, they are engineered to create a CAR, chimeric antigen receptor that is against a tumor antigen. So these CAR-T cells that go against a specific tumor antigen and then reinjected into the patient and can go selectively to the tumor, and in this way we have a very important immunological response against the tumor. In our case, what we did in these microfluidic devices was to culture, no, these tumor cells, and we cultured together with CAR-T cells. The tumor cells were transduced to express CD19 because the CAR-T cells we had were against CD19. Okay, and this is the control. Our control experiment. We also use T cells as an anogenic control, and here is the treatment with CAR-T cells. You can see that there is a decrease of the tumor cells after 15 days of treatment, after 15 days of co-culturing the cancer cells and the CAR-T cells. And when we treated this co-culture with the inhibitor, there was even a higher decrease of the tumor cells, this difference over here. So all together, we can say that, well, these results enhance, no, the relevance of inhibiting tumor cell sialoglycans in pancreatic cancer to revert, no, on one side, the aggressive and migratory phenotype. Also, we think to enhance the immune response against the tumor. In this regard, now, actually, we are trying to understand, no, the mechanism by which the reduction of sialoglycans on pancreatic cancer cells can induce this anti-tumor response of the immune cells. One of the mechanisms can be through Siglex. We know that in the tumor microenvironment, sialic acid is more present in the tumor cell compared to the normal cell, okay? And there is also more expression of Silex in the immune cells that are present in this tumor microenvironment, like myeloid-derived suppressor cells of tumor-associated macrophages. And for that, we first characterize whether these tumor cells, this sialic acid, could bind to these Silex. So we did an analysis. We are doing now an analysis of Silex ligands of pancreatic cells by flow cytometry and explore how the treatment with the inhibitor can reduce these Silex ligands. Here you have the results for these 4 pancreatic cancer cell lines. And in fact, some of them have more Silex ligands than others. It's in this part here, or here you see, no? The PAN1, for instance, has a lot of Silex ligands, Silex 7 and Silex 9 ligands. And when treating these cells with the inhibitor, the reduction of these ligands is very clear. Taking that into account, now we have started a collaboration with Udine in the Basque Country for analyzing what happens functionally when we are co-culturing these tumor cells with other immune cells like macrophages and T cells and CAR T cells. We have CAR T cells against CD19 antigen, and also we have our tumor cells that have been transduced to express this antigen CD19. First, from monocytes, we differentiate them into macrophages, and then these macrophages are treated with this cocktail of cytokines in order to generate a tumor-associated macrophages, to mimic, let's say, the tumor microenvironment. And then we treat these macrophages with our cells that are treated with this inhibitor. And after 1 day, when they attach, we add these CAR T cells. We have analyzed the cytotoxicity of these CAR T cells, and we have observed that in the cells that are treated with the inhibitor, there is an increase in T cell cytotoxicity. And we also have analyzed the polarization of macrophages. We have analyzed several markers. I show you here the ones that have done significant differences, in particular CD206, that is a tumor-associated macrophage marker, and we have shown a decrease in this marker when treated the cells with the inhibitor. And also we have observed an increase in the PD-L1 marker, that is a response of the macrophages as well to the presence of these activated CAR T cells. So these are the previous results that show there is a tendency in the repolarization of macrophages more to a pro-inflammatory phenotype. So these previous results are showing us that the treatment with this inhibitor that reduces the activity of sialyltransferase, that reduces the presence of sialic acid on the tumor surface, can favor the repolarization of macrophages and can also, via not well-known mechanism now, can also induce the cytotoxicity of these CAR T cells. Okay, so this is our results up to now, and thank you very much for your attention. Here is our group at the University of Girona, and also the collaborators from March Research Institute, the Udine, and the University of Zaragoza. And I'm pleased to answer all the questions. Okay.